Jersey Hospice Care has joined up with the charity Les Amis to help its residents understand how they can plan for their future care and to have the necessary support they need. The No Barriers Here workshops use arts-based methods, including drawing and even loom making, to help people with learning disabilities talk about and understand the decisions that they need to take around end-of-life care. It talks about medical treatment, where they would like to be cared for, who they'd like to have around, how they'd like to be remembered, and indeed if they have any preferences regarding their funerals. Well, Gail Edwards is a Jersey Hospice Care nurse champion and one of the trainers on No Barriers Here, and I'm pleased to say joins us this morning. Good morning, Gail.
Good morning. And first of all, I have to apologise for a very croaky voice this morning.
You know, there's a lot of it around at the moment, coughs and sputters and sneezes, isn't there? You and me both.
Indeed.
No apology necessary. Yeah. But Les Amis is a very special charity, isn't it? Tell me what they do first and foremost.
Oh, Les Amis look after, support people with learning disabilities, and they look after them in various size homes and in the community, keeping them, very much engaged in the community. So this has been a fantastic, I really can't stress that enough, fantastic partnership working, between the two charities, looking at and giving people an opportunity, to talk about what matters to them.
We're not very good about talking about death, are we? Whether or not we have a learning disability or not, none of us really like to talk about our own demise.
No, and it's such an emotive subject for everybody. It really is. And we absolutely, as a society, we need to normalise, we need to really have these conversations that we shy away from because they're too challenging for us, they're too difficult for us. So we tend not to have them. And then we end up in a crisis at the end of life where decisions have to be made, and that's burdensome for families, can be very difficult, can be quite, cause people to be making decisions on behalf of somebody else that they really don't necessarily know what the best would be. So this is giving people an opportunity to sit down and in a very lovely, gentle way of doing art, and really being engrossed in the conversation around their potential and possible changes in their health, and then also in their capacity. So if they lose capacity, who's going to be making those decisions for them? So this is a way, this artwork is a way of doing this in that lovely, gentle, a nice environment where they feel safe and secure. They've got their support workers with them. I'm there, being very open about the conversation, addressing it in language that everybody can understand. And it really does allow for this really deeper exploration of expression and expressing of their preferences and priorities through this lovely symbolizing with the artwork.
What prompted you to establish this course? Was there a perceived need? Was it a requirement, if you like, for people with these learning disabilities to be better prepared for the eventual outcome of all our lives?
I think that's a good question. I've always been very passionate about advanced care planning. I think that, we plan for so much in life. I'm forever planning holidays, planning, what we're going to do at the weekend and that. But we don't think about, in the event that our health should change or something should happen to us, what we would like or not like to happen. And so this was sort of just an extension of that. When I heard about this creative method of approaching the subject, I was in. And Hospice very kindly supported me to go over to the UK to do this course. So I've come back as a trainer in it, and been so inspired. I can't say that enough, how inspired I am with what these folk have been able to achieve. It is absolutely incredible, the work that they've done. And remember, there are some people that are non-verbal that are also, engaged in this work that we're doing. The support workers are marvelous because they bring out the best in the folk. They understand, they've lived with them for many years, so they know some of their likes and dislikes. So it's a two-way street. We need each other, and that's been really, really supportive with the two charities working together. Yeah.
You talk about no barriers.
It's really inspired me, honestly.
Yeah, I can hear that inspiration in your voice, even though it is a little croaky. No barriers
I'm
here.
even offering this. Yes, no barriers here. It was commenced in the UK during COVID, really, during the pandemic, in a response to the iniquities that a lot of people experience, particularly people with learning disabilities. They haven't had a voice. There's lots of evidence to show that they haven't had a voice. People haven't asked them what their preferences are for care. There's a presumption. And that's unacceptable. We can't treat people like that at all. So this is really giving them that voice, allowing them to express what they would like and what they would consider would be important to them. Some of the work that they've done and actually identified what is important to them has even been used to their support workers who've known them for a long time, because this is not a subject we touch on comfortably, is it?
It's not. None of us do that. And so therefore to have a safe space in which to discuss our own mortality and our own wishes and the things that are important to us is perhaps a blessing, isn't it, in many ways?
Yeah. And I mean, we have choices these days. And, there's a lot of work done with palliative and end-of-life care to avoid unnecessary hospital admissions. A lot of people would prefer to be in their place of care, in their care home or their own home at this time of life. So it's to know that, because some of the folk want to be in hospital, and that's their choice, that's their preference. So we need to be able to enable that. So we can only enable it if we know what they want, what's important to them. So the first workshop we do is all about what's important to the person. And that's been so interesting, because we're all individuals. We're all unique in what we like and dislike, and so that's highlighted to them what would be important to them. And then if we then look at that, and we can do this with any one of us, it doesn't have to be end of life. If that's going to be affected, if that's going to be taken away from you, your opportunities to go on these holidays, to go for these lovely long walks we've heard about earlier on, all of that is going to be affecting your quality of life, isn't it? So how can we make it good at that time? How can we bring some of that to you in your smaller environment, in your room or your care home?
And will there be more of these courses in the future?
Oh, I hope so. We are. I'm carrying on with Les Amis through 2024 with them, and I am approaching other organisations on the island also, because I think it's such a creative way of doing this. It's been so empowering, seeing how people are empowered, with doing this and sitting there through engaging in artwork with this challenging conversation. So I can see the value in it. I really can, and I really am hoping that other organisations would like to follow suit, and we can really get this throughout the island.
Thank you, Gail. Good to talk with you. Gail Edwards there, Jersey Hospice Care nurse champion and trainer on the No Barriers Here course, a joint initiative with the charity for people who live with learning disabilities, Les Amis.